5 years ago, I didn't want to hear another Doors song for years and years and years. Well, 5 years later, I've dusted them off and I've pulled them out, and tonight on the J-Files, you're going to hear 3 hours non-stop of Doors music, because 25 years ago this week, Jim Morrison, very sadly I must say too, and sincerely I will say this, he passed away in his bathtub in Paris, and there was lots of speculation as to whether he actually died that day. I think everyone knows well and truly now that he did die that day. No one spotted him after that point, did they? And 25 years on, Jim would have been 52 had he survived. What do you reckon he would have been like in 1996? I kind of draw to mind someone who looks a little like Marlon Brando, because he was getting pretty big at the age of 27 when he passed on, and I think he would have got even bigger. Marlon Brando comes to mind, so if you've got any suggestions on what Jim would have been doing if he survived, 1-800-021-060. And feel free, as always on the J-Files, to put in your bid for a Doors song tonight. Here's one for Joe.
You know the day destroys the night, night divides the day. Break on through to the others, break on through, break on through.
Wrong. I just want to sing the blues, man. Get fat, do nothing, go nowhere, just be.
That waistline, Jimbo, you ain't got much choice.
What is wrong with being a large mammal? A big beast. Like a tank, I feel
A
great.
king crawling flab. Rock is cock, baby, and your rock is dying.
Rock is death, man. There's no longer belief. Poetry and direct movies.
Oh, that's bullshit, man. Tested all the limits. Fame, fucking, money. What you gonna do when the music's over, man? When you're too fat and old to go out on stage, what you gonna do for Act 3? Puke on heaven's door.
The J-Files.
Walking down the street, I love you, let me jump in your game.
To the rest of the band that he was leaving. It's a true story. He said, I'm out of here. This isn't what I wanted. This isn't what I expected. I don't want this sort of level of success. But Ray Manzarek, the keyboard player in the Doors, actually convinced Jim to hang in there for another 6 months to see where they ended up. And Jim ended up staying right throughout until he died in 1971.
The J-Files.
Okay, let's talk about the Doors. They begin at UCLA, where Morrison and Manzarek are enrolled in a master's program in filmmaking. They share a house in Venice, California, near the beach. Ray introduces his friends Krieger and Densmore to Jim's poetry. They begin to jam together at small clubs on the Sunset Strip. And even in their early tapes, there's a distinct bluesy feeling, which sometimes gets lost in the poetics, but usually comes out in the rhythm where it counts. Anyway, a huge record company signs them, then changes its mind. Another company grabs them up, and this time they record. Their first album sells more copies than My Weekly Reader. They become superstars, able to leap tall groupies in a single bound, able to fill virtually any hall in the Western world. They garner as much publicity from their presence as they do from their music. This seems to put the authorities uptight, but it delights the kids. It's like Jim Morrison once said, when you make your peace with authority, you become an authority.
The Doors there, My Eyes Have Seen You. 1-800-021-060. If you'd like to contribute tonight to the J-Files, feel free.
Out here in the perimeter, there are no stars. Out here, we is stoned, immaculate.
The J-Files.
All right, wait a second. Got a really long show. Got a hell of a show for you. A beautiful thing. All right, now look, we've seen a lot of things happen in the city. Everything's turned around. Everything's beautiful. Nobody thought we'd be able to bring the Doors here, and we did. But we got a couple of things. Wait a second, man. Look, we just got a couple of little things that we got to tell you about. The fire marshal not going to let this show go on, and I just had a long meeting with him, and man, this is no joke. You either got to sit down, and you got to go back to your seats, you got to make aisles, and that's it, man. Just got to move back. Hey, look. Wait a second, hold on. Let's have a little help, man. Come on, everybody. Everybody go back to their seats. People are going to get hurt up here. They're going to pass out. And we don't want it, man. And the Doors don't want it either.
The Doors. Hey, Philadelphia. Do you feel all right?
The Doors there, rocking out with their version of Bo Diddley's Who Do You Love from the Absolutely Live double album set. Okay, Richard Kingsmore with you tonight on the J-Files. Don't forget, as part of our Doors special tonight, we've got the quiz coming up. We want to crown the Doors champion. The person who knows the most about the Doors tonight, listening to Triple J, 1800 021 060. Now, there's two little questions you've got to answer right. I'm not going to tell you what those questions are because you'll race to the books and look them up. But Joe's got them handy. All you have to do is answer those two correctly and then you're in with a chance. You're in the barrel. You will perhaps be one of the lucky people drawn out around about 11:30 tonight to take part in the quiz. Popular one, this one so far tonight, and quite rightly so. For Julie in Canberra, Colin in Sydney, Mike in Brisbane, it's Peace Frog on Triple J.
Our prison within a jail, within a gale, within a white-free Protestant maelstrom. We're perched headlong in the edge of boredom. We're reaching for death on the end of a candle. We're trying for something that's already found us.
Hey, that's a good one. Thank you to Andrew in Sydney for suggesting that one tonight on the J-Files, 20th Century Fox from the Doors' first album. And in just a moment, we've been sort of gathering responses from Triple J listeners about where Jim Morrison would be at 52 years of age in 1996. John Densmore, the drummer from the Doors, will give us a little bit of an insight into where he reckons Jim would be very soon on the J-Files. I asked him where do you reckon Jim would be now? And he kind of gave me this insight.
Towards the end there, he was asked if he had to do it over, would he do it any differently, which is an annoying question. I always answer that, well, of course I would do it different, otherwise I wouldn't have learned anything from what I went through, and no, I wouldn't do it any different because then I wouldn't be who I am now. But Jim said he would be quieter if he did it over, kind of a Zen artist working in his garden. So when he said that statement that if he had it to do over, he would do it differently, I think he maybe subconsciously knew that he'd kind of passed the point of no return, that he couldn't get back, that he had a disease, alcoholism.
So there you have it, John Densmore. He reckons that Jim would have been a gardener. Oh, that's a scary sight. Stay away from that big gnome in the corner. You're listening to the J-Files tonight on Triple J.
And there's a couple of empty wine bottles, green wine bottles, lying around at the foot, like at the base of the grave, and there were some flowers in a vase, I think. And
did he have the bust? Was the bust of Jim still there, the stone bust, or had that disappeared by '84?
I can't remember. I can't remember the bust, but I just remember the grave itself and all the graffiti scratched into the grave. But I can't remember the actual bust. Yes.
Okay. No, I think it had disappeared. I think someone had smashed it by that point in time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it was an icon there at the cemetery in Paris for many, many years. Were there many people hanging around when you were there?
Not that day. It was a overcast day, really grey sort of. Winter's day, and there was hardly anyone around. It was a weekday, and there's hardly anyone around the grave, around the cemetery at all.
Yeah.
And it was, there's no leaves on the trees, there was no sun. It was just a very sort of bleak, wintry day in Paris.
Right, cool. Did you get any eerie feelings while you were there or anything like that?
No, not really. It was it was sort of no. So I've heard a lot of stories where people had they sort of got drunk and have joints, and I've even heard some people have a screw on the grave, and but no, there's nothing sort of like that. It was just it was just a very quiet, still day, and a lot of moisture in the air.
How long are you going to let them push you around? You love it. You're all a bunch of slaves. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do? Hey, I'm not talking about no revolution. I'm not talking about no demonstration. I'm not talking about